Hey, what's up, folks? This is Pastor Charles Humphrey of Hope's House Christian Ministries. I'd like to welcome you to our Men's VIP Conversation. The VIP Conversation is a space where men are injecting men, and even women, with a dose of vision, inspiration, and purpose. Why, you ask? Well, the reason is simple. I know you have a big God-sized dream, a big God-sized vision, things you want to accomplish so you can impact the world around you. I also know that you have big opposition, big obstacles, big challenges ahead of you as you pursue those dreams. So we created this space to help you overcome the effects of procrastination, stagnation, and even intimidation of accomplishing that dream that's right before you, that's in your sight. So listen, we've assembled some great people, some great men who have experiences, backgrounds, and challenges they've overcame to pursue their dream as well. So I want you to pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and lean in and listen to these men as they share their vision, inspiration, and purpose with you. Let's get to it. We have today here a friend of mine. I know him since he was a baby boy, a long time. Brother Melvin Jackson Jr. He's an actor, entertainer, comedian, producer. These Hollywood guys do everything. So I'm gonna ask him to let us know what he does, what he's working on, just his realm of greatness. So welcome, Melvin Jackson. What's going on, man?
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
I see you wearing the proper colors. That's good.
Yes,
Lakers.
all day Lakers. Let's go.
Okay, real quick, what you think about all these trades, all these different negotiations?
I'm loving it. I love Carmelo being to the Lakers. It's my guy. So okay. Like they keep saying they old. I'm like, listen, don't strip on the old guys. The old players in NBA is not regular old people in real life. So they build different. So we're gonna be all right.
All right, cool. So give the folks a little bit about what you've done, what you're doing in terms of your acting resume and things that you're working on.
Well, I'm an Emmy-nominated actor that got nominated for my role as Eddie Murphy in a web series that I wrote entitled "This Eddie Murphy Role Is Mine, Not Yours." You may have known me from the HBO show The Wire, playing Bernard, the bully on CW's Everybody Hates Chris, and playing the legendary Curtis Blow on the New Edition story. So truly a blessing to have played these characters and doing well.
Man, a diverse array of identities, characters, and everything. And you're still 18 years old,
Right. I age backwards. I'm 40 and I'm proud.
That's cool, man. So what was the spark for you the spark to say, man, let's go this route instead of driving truck or instead of being an accountant. How the acting bug get you?
Well, it all started with my mom, just in regards to just telling me I can do anything I put my mind to as a kid. So for me, like, the sky was always the limit. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do in the beginning, but I think at 18, I decided I wanted to be in the entertainment. I think I was modeling at the time. I was started being a manager, and the agency that I was with at the time had me audition for a PSA. Never acted, did any acting before, never had any classes. And I booked the role, and from that point on, I was like, this is something I can do, and I can make money at it too. So I just really started taking it serious, and just truly taking what I saw, like watching on TV, wasn't just entertainment. I watched it to learn how to be an actor, and so just continue to take that and strive forward. And man, God, like, truly blessed me with the gift to just be able to do it and be around people and not be intimidated.
Right. That's a big thing, to be in those spaces, because Hollywood can be a little bit. Listen, it can be very intimidating, especially if you run up against somebody that you're a fan of, or whatever, or you get the cold shoulder to know. It's like, man, am I cut out for this? Which is why I'm not an actor today. But really, so let me go back to your short film. This Eddie Murphy Role Is Mine. And I didn't know they had so many categories, because we tend to think of, best actor, best actress, best whatever, best show. And here you found a niche that you fit in with a short. And actually, I think Eddie's one of your idols in terms of that presence and
I won't say idol because God is my idol. I would say
Okay.
he's someone I look up to. Look, I had to look at that. I was like, definitely, like, do I idolize? I'm like, I look up to him. He's definitely a huge part of me being in the business, me being an actor and comedian, and definitely someone I look up to. But you know, being a Christian man, you got, you know, you can't idolize individuals. You got to idolize God, and no one can be above Him. Right. But that's just where, you know, every to each his own. But I just like to, when I look at the definition of idol, and I'm like, yeah, I can't get nobody that much power.
I appreciate that, and that ties into your faith and your priorities from a spiritual standpoint, which is great. So going on that, so other than him, who else inspired you or inspires you in the craft or in that arena?
I mean, definitely Denzel Washington, Will Smith. Yeah, those are the guys. Like Denzel's been doing it for a long time, and just hearing his story and how, you know, he stayed spiritually grounded, where it was times where he thought about taking an acting role. His one of the agents at the time was like, "I'll pay you not to take it," because he believed that he was so much better than that role. And I think that's the thing, when you have people who have gone through things in their career, and you see how they progressed, and you know what they hold dear to them and how they do it. He constantly put in the work. You know what then Denzel and Will were kind of what made me want to go and get an acting coach or work with an acting coach, because up until I want to say 12 or 13 years of my career, I didn't take any acting classes or had any acting coach. And I was like, well, if they work with an acting coach, if they constantly work with somebody, what makes me think I'm any better? And how can I expect to sharpen my craft, my tool, if I don't work with someone to get me better? So that's what kind of led me to even working with an acting coach and trying to get better, because I knew that I had it, but I knew that I could always sharpen my tools.
That's a good thing that you mentioned, because a lot of people are talented out there, naturally gifted, naturally charismatic, have that energy or that X factor. But as you refine your craft, you know, you make those changes and a lot of nuances, right. To the craft that you don't think about on TV. Me as a person watching TV, oh, he did a good job of being emotional. But there's so many different layers and levels to that thing, man. It's like crazy. So far, so good with the coaching process.
Yeah, everything is beautiful. I mean, I have an amazing acting coach, Sue Hamilton, now, and she just changed my whole idea of auditioning. Like, I try to have fun with it. Sometimes audition can be very gruesome and tiresome, because you get tired of doing the same thing over and over again. So for me, it's like I'm very selective now on the auditions that I take, because I'm like, if I'm not gonna have fun doing it, if I'm not gonna be committed doing it, I don't want to do it, just because it's like, my agent or manager sent me this audition. It's like, no, can I really see myself on set having fun doing this role? And if the answer is no, then I don't want to do it.
I never thought about that. I just thought you go out there and grind and do as much as you can. Because you hear the term rise and grind, and you know, you talk to folks, especially in Hollywood, I'm on the grind, man. It's like I have this vision of people doing nonstop, you know, back and forth auditions, and it just seems like. But I thank you for sharing that, because it does show there's some decision making and some prioritization about what you want to do, and you're not just going to wear yourself out just trying to be out there. You can do that, right?
You can, you know, in the beginning you kind of won't be as selective, because you're young in your career. You don't want to turn out too many auditions. But if it's something that's just really not for you, like, don't be afraid to turn it down. But there's sometimes when you just like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and audition, because this is not necessarily about this role. It's about an opportunity to be in front of this cast director and to be seen for something else they may consider me for.
So you mentioned it. So what do you say to those who feel like, I got to get everything I can, because you never know what, you know, what may be opportunity or may not be there for me. And especially the aspect of what you call compromise, and not even spiritual compromise, but compromise of what you believe, who you are, your character, whether you play a role that you just don't agree with or don't like, whatever. So you think that there's space for those who are up and coming to make those decisions? Because I got the impression that, man, just do what you can, get on screen, be around people. And
Well, wise woman was just my wife. She said it's all about quality, not quantity. Okay. And so you want to make sure that you do quality work, and you want to take a role that you feel like you can do your best bet, you know, your best job, because you can take a role, but you've seen a lot of people just take roles and you like, I see they just took that for a paycheck. Oh, I saw that they really wasn't really committed to that. Right. And that's, as an actor, you have to know what's right for you and what's not. And at the end of the day, you got to trust in somebody. You know, like I said, I trust in God, so I can't be like, well, if I don't take this, then I'm gonna miss out on opportunities. It's like if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But I can't put this control. I can't give somebody else this control. I have to know that the man up above has control, and what's gonna be is gonna be.
All right, cool. I appreciate you, man. I learned something today, man. Totally cool. So I've scrolled across your social media every now and again. You know, I ain't a fan, but I'll be checking you out. And so I know that besides the Curtis Blow role, besides Eddie Murphy, that you've put yourself in positions where you want to act and be a certain character. I forget there was another rapper that I think you were looking at.
Yeah, I think it was one time it was going to be not Curtis Blow. It was going to be Corrupt.
Corrupt, yeah. So is that an angle you take? I want to focus on the individual and be that role or be their character, their biography, or it's just a chance to challenge yourself, or how's that work for you?
Well, what happened was that they were actually doing something. They were casting for a movie, and so I was always kind of told some time before, like, hey, you look like Corrupt. So I thought about, reaching out. So I reached out to a friend of mine showed Corrupt my picture, and, I think it was this side-by-side picture. And then he took it to Daz, and they reached out to me through social media, had me in an audition, like I did a reenactment of an interview with, and they ended up casting me. So the project never, got underway because of some legal matters, I guess, music-wise. But just the simple fact that I got picked by the person who I was portraying, and when I met him, he was like, "You family," and it just was a beautiful thing. So it's always a blessing when you can portray somebody. But the thing is, it's always that challenge, because people are like, from the West Coast, you're like, you better do a good job because I know this person, and so it's always that challenge of people judging you.
Yeah. That is a well. Congratulations on getting the love, and that just means to me that there's people who see you and recognize you, and there's open doors out there. So, and I get the Hollywood thing where I've heard people, man, we did the pilot, boom, then all of a sudden it disappeared or it's never got aired or whatever. Like, that would drive me crazy, man. I'm like, so let me ask you this, because as a person of faith, as a person who's pursuing a career in Hollywood, how do you stay grounded with all the ups and downs, all the changes, all the redirections? Sometimes I've heard people have bad management or bad, agents, and it's like the agent never gives me anything to do. I'm like, I've heard all kind of crazy stories. So I'm like, dude, y'all, man, come on. What keeps you grounded?
Definitely God, man. My goal is always to understand you're going to go to trials and tribulation. That's life. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, like, what is the lesson? There's always a teachable lesson from each situation you go through, good or bad. Mm-hmm. And the lesson is never think that you're bigger than the opportunity. Never think that you're bigger than where you are, because where you are today is not where you're going to be tomorrow. Whether it's on top or bottom, where it's, for me, it's like I've seen it where you may, things are hot and everything's going and people are giving you free stuff and this and that. You're on every red carpet to nobody's checking for you. What you working on? Oh, okay, well, holler at me when you're working on something. And so it just shows me, like, where the industry is. When you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. And so for me, it's just like, and if I trust in God, if I allow him to continue to lead me in where he wants me to be, I'll always be a hot topic, because I'm pushing his message. I'm not pushing just my own. That's why I speak on, mental health issues, domestic violence, different things that's just not entertainment, so that at the end of the day, my legacy is bigger than entertainment. It's like, what did he do for the world? How did he make a difference? Was he a blessing? Was he truly a person of God? It wasn't just like, oh, thank you, Jesus, I'm good, I'm about God, and then the next day he's cussing out somebody and stabbing them in the back, or so for me, it's making sure that I stay the course. Mm-hmm. And God has something planned way bigger than I even imagined. Like, just to even be here today, still in this business 22 years later, I and still love it. Like that's a beautiful thing, because I know a lot of people who left the business. They just was some went home, couldn't stomach it anymore. Some was just not okay with everything that happened in this business. But for me, I wanted to keep my integrity. I wanted to make sure that I stood for something, and my name is my name, and making sure that I represent myself in the best manner, to where no one can ever say, oh, Melvin, he's a snake, he's a crook, he's not going to be about the people, he's about himself. I didn't want that. So I feel like that was, really standing on what God wanted for me, and when he brought me into this business, and that's to be a difference maker.
Cool. That's wild. That's You actually got ahead of my question. I was going to mention some people do lose their way. They come out here with great intentions,
Right.
around the wrong people, get in the wrong situations, and they get, messed up, turned out, whatever you want to call it, and they go back home with the tail between the legs, or lose all joy, and they stop pursuing their heart's desire. I was going to ask you about the concept of community. Obviously, as a man of faith, you do connect with the church community and appreciate that, man, just your presence here. But more than that, how have you built a community around you? Obviously, your wife is a huge part of that fabric that keeps you going. What do you have certain people that you have put yourself around on purpose that help keep you focused and connected and grounded?
Absolutely. I keep myself around like-minded individuals because I always feel like your circle, your circle that you build is the circle that constantly builds you up. And for me, I have different walks of life, people who've been married 30, 40 years, or someone who's a multimillionaire and can teach me how to grow wealth, and someone that can teach me how to, constantly work on my marriage, how to be the head. And then I have people who, my spiritual people that we constantly go come and we pray with each other, and we constantly build each other up. We sharpen each other's iron, and we are just about building each other up, whether it's their career happening first and I'm congratulating them, or something happens in my career, or whatever it may be. The circle is tight, and there's no drama, it's no egos, it's peaceful. And that's what you need. You need people that's going to be able to make you better. And I always say that, you want to surround yourself with people who are more successful than you, more wiser than you, because if you all have the same thing, then it's like, what are we doing? You want to make sure that you can look at somebody and say, oh, how can you get here? And they can help you get to that level, teach you, and they can show you the ropes. So your circle is very important. It will determine who you are. Yeah. And even going back to your first other question, just also when I knew that it wasn't about me, was when God said, it's not about you. It's about what you can do for others. And, when I thought like everything was going on like red carpets, and I thought it was just me. And it's like, it's not about you. And I'm like, I'm ready, guys. They know you're not. I said, I am. And I was like, well, what if I say, because like, I don't want to give you a chance and you mess it up. And I was like, well, I might get a second chance. He was like, who says you're going to get a second chance? We don't always get a second chance. So it was like, was right there in that moment where I'm like, got it. Understand. It's not about me. So the reason I feel more gratification when I do for others is because it's never about me.
Right. Wow, man, you blowing me away, man. I wouldn't all this smoke up in here. No, totally. That goes to purpose, right? Because we all have a purpose in life, and many of us are discovering that. Sometimes the ups and downs help us to see what it is and what it ain't, sometimes, And so the aspect that you touched on, that you want to have an impact on other people's lives, not about you, really ties that you have a bigger sense of purpose. Acting is a vehicle. And praise God if you get more awards and more big shows and long-lasting, Grey's Anatomy kind of stuff,
Right, exactly, right.
That lasts forever. And, I know you got to turn it down, but at the same time, you still want your legacy to be bigger than just he was on the show, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's huge, man. That's huge. So in that respect, what is at this stage in your career, because you've had some successes, had some spotlight moments, had some red carpet moments, and a lot of people would like kill to be where you are already. You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, if I could be like him, I saw your picture with the award and the on the carpet, and even just seeing yourself in that space. Right. What was that like, man? What's that experience like to be holding that? It was my bottle of water. Holding that award, saying and taking a picture like this is real. This could be real.
Right. It was it's that kid once again dreaming, kid from DC just with a dream, and you set your mind on something and you know that you can do it. And the simple fact that although I came up short, the simple fact is like, man, I was nominated for an Emmy, like something that I only saw on TV. I went to the Emmys. I was there with with the stars of the stars and holding people's Emmys. Like one day I'm gonna get my own. And also understanding like, man, like this is when you trust God, like he can make all your dreams come true. Right. Also, but if it has to be his plan too, because the thing is that I got close to it. I didn't win it for whatever reason. God didn't want me to win it, whatever it is. But it was just like the company that I was in. And also what happened that night when I didn't win, people were watching me. I didn't know this. People were watching me to see how I handled myself. You know, we always see the winners. We always see how the winners do. They cheer. But what are the losers? What do the losers locker room look like? Are they soaking? Are they like, ah, man, they shouldn't, like, people are watching me, and the simple fact that I was like, I still got God. I mean, I have the Emmy, but I got God. Like, and people just, whatever I was doing that night, dancing, people were following me, watching and everything. And a guy came over to one of my good friends that was with me, and he was like, "You're with Melvin, right?" He was like, "He may not won the award, but he won the room." And I was like, he told me that. He was like, people were watching him. He said he may not won the award, but he won the room. That's way bigger. And this is just some random guy that came up to him. And he's like, man, and my buddy was like, man, I watched you, man. You went left, everybody went left with you. You went right, like, you have a power that is bigger than what you know. Like, people will follow you. And that's what I realized. I'm like, man, when you're a good leader, people will follow you without question. It's not about the ego. It's not about saying I'm right. People, and I call somebody and say, hey, I'm doing this project. Hey, I'm doing this. They ask a few questions. All right, I got you. And everybody's on board. I don't have to do much talking, much convincing. I say, hey, I got an idea. I want to shoot this project to submit it for Emmy. Great. And then when people actually see that I got nominated for it, they like, man, you said it, and here it is. So it's truly, I can't keep saying enough. It's nothing but God. Like, I can't explain it. And I work a 9 to 5, and that's, I want people to understand, like, you can still live out your dreams and still work a job. Don't feel like you got to quit your job. You got to do these crazy jobs to. Well,
let's go there. Let's go there because because there's a couple of different versions of those who come from back east, down south, to come out to LA, and some is like, I'm gonna put all my $400 in my pocket, drive across town country, and land and hope something happens. That's one version, right? Then there's a person, like any dreamer, entrepreneurs, you work a 9 to 5, then you work on your gift after hours, on your craft and everything. And so, and some people decide when to jump. Some people are scared to jump, and so you found a kind of balance. Okay, got 9 to 5, but at the same time, you're clearly still pursuing the craft and keeping yourself out there. And so, how do you balance that, man? That's crazy. It sounds.
It's interesting. This is the thing. I made one of the craziest choice ever, and that was to choose to be homeless by choice. I was homeless by choice. Not that I didn't have a place to live. I was homeless by choice. I had a place to live back in Maryland, but I chose to give myself a month to stay on someone's couch and pretty much go through the rigorous thing. If I don't get an agent in a month or a opportunity, I'm gonna go back home. And within that 3 weeks, I got an agent and I booked everybody. Here's Chris. That was my first, audition. But I was staying on people's couches where I was like, I didn't have a home. I'm out here in LA and didn't have a home, and that's like the worst thing to do. Keep sleeping on people's couches, and you really can't pay the rent because you're barely scraping pennies to pay stuff back home. I'm unemployed because I'm like, I just graduated college. So while I'm leaving this one job, let me go ahead and take this chance. And back in 2006, I was just like, yeah, this is not going to work for me. I can't do this, guy. I remember being in Crenshaw at the gas station across from Popeyes. And I was like, I can't live like this, guy. I had drove cross country because I was planning to move here.
Oh, you were that cat. Okay.
And I was just like, nah, I can't do it. And I had drove back, got a job, worked that job for about 9 months, transferred out here. And I've been in that job for 15 years. And I'm just like, until I get a big check or nothing where it's like, okay, this is time to leave, I'm gonna still be there because you have to make sure you can take care of yourself and your family. Like, you can't sacrifice your family's livelihood for your dreams. Right. And that's what I was doing. I was sacrificing the time with my kids, sacrificing the life that I could have gave them to live out my dream. Although I thought I was doing it for us, but I'm like, no, I'm really doing it for me. Because at the end of the day, it only benefited me to be out there. It didn't benefit them.
Wow.
So I had to go through that process of like missing out on certain things with the kids, even though I wasn't gone for like years at a time. But it's like, while I'm out pursuing, they don't have their daddy at home. And so I tell people, it's like, make sure that you don't sacrifice your kids' livelihood to live your dream. See if you can do both, make it work.
Wow. It's funny because I hear these inspirational stories, and I'll fast forward. I went to a conference one time, and this guy who's a big Disney executive, hotels, blah, blah, blah. And he's at the end of his career, wrote this book, And the thing, people always talk about, if you had to do it over again, the time with kids, time with family, he's out there building multi-million-dollar hotels for Disney. He's like, yeah, if I had to go back, I'd spend more time with family. I keep hearing that. And you actually seem to, at a younger age, get it that you can't sacrifice it because you can't get it back.
No.
I know your oldest boy is
23, and I have an 18-year-old and 13-year-old.
Yeah, so you've had those different phases, and those phases go fast, don't they?
Yes.
Those between elementary school to middle school, you look up like, you about to graduate already?
Right.
So how do you feel about, you've learned, you feel regret, you feel like, man, dang, I missed it, or you think the kids feel the results of that drive that you had?
Well, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a long time. I would say, if anything, it was like a couple months at a time. But I feel like, they were at a younger age where some of them remember, but then it wasn't like a long time where that's why I'm glad I had that, realization, like, I got to come back. I got to go back and wake up and do it the right way. And so when I was able to bring my whole family out here, that was a monumental moment, because I'm like, here I am moving my family to the West Coast and able to really pursue my dream and be closer. Like, it's one thing to be in Maryland trying to go back and forth, but to be here, the Mecca, like where it's happening, and it just be at your fingertips, it was truly, a blessing. So I'm thankful to have a job, to be able to transfer here to live my dream, because trying to come here to find a job is very, very hard. It's like,
not happening. All right, so you talk about some inspirations, the Will Smiths, the Denzels. You talked about the vision you had to be out here and get involved in the craft. You actually I didn't ask you this, but you told me about purpose. I'm like, okay, it's something, and that's what I think I want guys to understand, is that there's something out there bigger than you pursuing, as they say, securing the bag,
Yes, you're right.
There's something bigger than that, and that's nothing wrong with it, but if you sacrifice everything, family and friends and relationships, to secure the bag, you're probably on the wrong track.
Right, absolutely.
So what is your wildest dream as an entertainer? If you could say, I want to be there, where is there for you? Or maybe in this phase, is it the mansion? Is it the?
I think for me, this was a thing. Yes, that's a good question. For me, this is the thing. When I got nominated for the Emmy, like, I had written a acceptance speech. That's one thing, is like, you get nominated, now you got to write a acceptance speech. So my acceptance speech was just gonna, talk about, everything from mental health, just like, losing my father to suicide, and just like how I wish he could be here to see it, because everything he worked hard for, everything he, sacrificed, it all paid off, in just regards to me making something of myself, because, man, I lived an amazing life as a kid. And so for me, it's being on a stage, continuing to share my message, share my story, and understand, like, man, you can look like me. Yeah, you can come from where I'm from, and you can succeed. You don't have to come from the ghetto to be whatever it is. You have to live this, this stigma of, oh, I got to be from the hood to go from hood to rich or whatever.
Right.
I can't say that I was from the projects, but I lived a life to where I understand what struggling is in its regards to when you're on your own and you have to make things work, but also understanding that you have to know your purpose. And like you say, walking in your purpose. When you know your purpose, it's such a powerful feeling. Like, and my purpose is simply to continue to be a light, continue to be a blessing, continue to share my story and be transparent, because I was one to never really share my business or share what's going on. But I feel like the more I share the trials and tribulations I've been through in my life, the more people are affected by it, in a way that we're like, man, thank you for sharing that. Like that, I was on the edge, but you knowing that you went through that, or knowing that you got through it, like, allowed me to know that, man. And whether it's you trying to find God, or you being mad at God, or losing your religion or not believing in God, whatever it is, it's meant for me to do, like, to show you, like, listen, I'm not trying to preach to you, no preacher, but I'm just teaching you what I know. What I can tell you is God has always been there for me. He's never forsaken me. He's never let me astray. If I'm by myself lonely, I know I can call him. Mm-hmm. And it is what it is. Like, from a young age, I saw my mom praying over me, knowing, that people wrote me off. Oh, he's a problem child. He's this and that. My mom constantly praying over me, anointing me with oil. That showed me faith. at a young age. Like that's what God looks like. Your faith, that you have faith in something you can't see. That's what it is. And so I'm like, I want to have a relationship with him. So it was like God. I spoke to him at a young age, like, hey, I don't want to be this kid no more, God. Right. The next day was a change. So for me, my ultimate thing is speaking on the stage, sharing my story, allowing people and kids to know that you can do anything you put your mind to, because my mom told me, and I put my faith in God.
Cool. Real last question, or kind of almost last question. A lot of people go through that phase of feeling like if I'm gonna be in entertainment, it's either entertainment or success or God. You ever feel that pull of either or you decide like, and I'm gonna be with God regardless?
I'm gonna be with God, because at the end of the day, it's like if He don't want you to have it, you ain't gonna have it. And even if for me, it's success. I always say success is different for people. Success for me is finishing something that you started. So I already feel like the simple fact that I finished a lot of things that I started, like I'm already successful. And as long as I continue to trust the man that got me here, I'm gonna be okay. It may not, and that's the thing, it may not happen when you want it to happen. Right. Like what God has already shown me, what He's about to bless me with, is like already blown my mind. Like He gives me in little stages. He's like, boom, here it goes. The new edition story. Here's a Curtis Buck, boom, that takes off. Then you get a little bit here, the Emmy, boom. So it's just like He showed me He's already shown me what the potential is. Yes. I just gotta stay the course. I gotta wait and be patient. Yes.
I love it. I love it, man. You preaching? No, I think that's the message right there, man. Because one thing I wanted to convey with this VIP conversation, pursue those dreams, but really, ultimately, the plan is in His hands, and we have to trust that He's going to do it, as opposed to abandon Him and think we can make it happen ourselves, because we really can't. And we have a lot of stories of people who are casualties, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to thank you, man. Listen, I'm believing that those doors are open, and I love the fact that even in Hollywood and entertainment world, you can be like this for a long time. All of a sudden, the break comes, the doors open. I've
seen it. We watch it right in front of our eyes.
Crazy. So I believe that's going to happen for you, my brother. I'm looking forward to it. Just remember me when you get there, okay?
Come on, you're going there with me. You right there with me, Pops.
It's all good. Well, thank you, man. Thank you, Melvin, for sharing some of your story, some of your passion, some of your experiences, ups and downs. And listen, once again, we want to give men just a shot of vision, inspiration, and purpose. They can continue to move on, even if things are tough and tight and crazy. Keep pushing and trusting God will honor the process and get you to your end goal in Jesus' name. Cool.
Amen.
Thank you for your time. We will see y'all later. Thank y'all for watching. If you've been inspired by this message, let us know. Holler at us, okay? We'll talk to you soon. See you next time.
Bless you.
Hey folks, listen, we want to thank you for joining us for this week's conversation. And remember, above all things, you don't have to be a celebrity to be a VIP. All you need to do is have a vision, inspire someone, and walk in God-given purpose. And don't forget to share this video with someone and drop us a note or a message to let us know how this video was helpful for you. And we will see you soon.